What's up, guys? Welcome back to 24/7 Comics Book Club. We are now on episode 7. We're currently doing Let's Do a Powerbomb. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe, and sign up for our newsletter. We're always up to something new, so if you want the latest and greatest, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Man, Do A Powerbomb is so meaningful to us, right? Because it was one of the first books that I gave you. And I think it was like fresh off of my personal fandom as well.
I didn't know comics were doing anything like that. I mean,
and it wasn't until this, which was like the coolest thing.
It's really rare for me to like see something this cool when it's actually new. I'm usually like a late bloomer.
Folks, thanks for joining us. The idea of 24/7 Comics Book Club is, for us to just read together. So don't wait for these episodes. If you haven't read 1 and 2 yet, definitely grab your issues at your local comic book shop. If not, just open up a digital edition and read along with us and hear what we have to say. We love these books and we want to continue sharing. So feel free to make recommendations because we are always looking for more books to read as well. So with that said, let me talk a little bit about why we're here too. At 24/7 Comics, we are a creator-led publisher, and one of the creator teams is Sean Chan and Daniel Wu, and they created this title called Evermind. If you want to find out more, definitely visit 247comics.com. They are all currently available from our latest drop, and we also have some signed copies. We had a signing event a few months back, and we had over 200 people show up. So thank you everyone for all the support. And with that said, let's get to Do a Powerbomb issue number 3. But this isn't issue number 3 because I think I was like in the midst of like production and I missed it that month, and Do a Powerbomb was killing it. And so they basically, just sold out everywhere. And I don't know, I'm just cheap or something. And maybe I shouldn't have been so lazy. I should have just bought us issue 3. But, we left off on the last episode with this very, very heartwarming moment. And then I want to bring you back on a trade paperback with this new issue. So, Sarah, take us in. Where are we now?
All right, guys. Well, we're in a dive bar. As usual, a lot of our stories start and end here, Carl. But we're back in a dive bar watching. We have just learned that CobraSun is actually Lana Steelrose's dad, and the person who did a crazy, I think the move was called a Sun Warrior, and just unfortunately was the cause of her mother's death. So they have been propositioned by this necromancer. If you win this tournament, you bring your mother back to life. The catch is you've got to partner with someone. So at this time, Lana does not know that CobraSun is her father. We were just revealed that at the end of issue 2. So setting the stage here, we're doing Whiskey Rocks. Jacob is actually CobraSun, the father's name. If I do say that name later, don't get confused. But they're kind of just discussing whether this proposition will work. It's a little rough here because obviously Uncle Blood knows that it was a mistake, but he was the cause of his sister's death. And they both kind of made a pact to keep Lana out of this whole business. She's doing it on her own. She's really talented, but they haven't coached her or trained her, which she doesn't quite know why at this point.
And what's cool is, as the audience, we're now going to witness, and DWJ does such a good job of this, because when it comes to characters, it's really about the whys, right? Like why they do certain things. And often when we understand why, then we could relate with the characters a little bit more. So I think Uncle Blood here is kind of like, why didn't you guys just freaking tell her, dude? Like, why do you guys make it a secret? And I thought it was really cool because the way CobraSun or Jacob explained it was, him and Lana's mom was just kind of like, we didn't want to confuse her. Like, well, I'm the bad guy. I'm taking on, her mom and not to beat up her mom. It's like, that's super confusing for a kid. And so I was like, wow, that's actually a really good reason as to why you wouldn't tell your daughter. So, definitely, shout out to DWJ for even thinking of that type of reasoning. And obviously he's a father himself. So I'm guessing, he understands the importance of just managing information when it comes to what you share with the kids.
Mhm. Yeah, really no plot holes in this story, which is incredible.
No, killed it. And then they jump right to basically, they regardless of how the conversation ends, they go right to the tournament, and it's
Look
called
how
the
cool
Death
that
Light.
looks.
Yeah. And so they're here. They're at the Death Light. They're checking in, and they're a team now. And as they're checking in, they didn't really have a team name, so the guy who was checking him in, like, basically named them, right? They said, "Oh, let's see, Lana Steel Rose and CobraSun. Okay, how about Sun and Steel?" And it's kind of cool because the way it's presented, it's almost like they're on stage, right?
Yes. So cool. And they are against Orangabang.
The ring and bang, exactly.
I like
And
that.
so we'll kind of fast forward through some of this. You guys should definitely read through this. I'll say, without any spoiler alerts, that there are some significant characters, and DWJ does such a good job of setting it all up. Now these two fighters are about to punch a freaking dog, dude. Like, who does that? Of course, like, Lana goes kicks them in the face. It's like, what the hell?
Puppy punch, and it's so cute and happy. Oh, my dogs are walking over at this moment. Come
And
here,
the puppy
Nacho.
has no idea what's going on. That's exactly how lovable they are. It's like puppy punch. Like, what the heck?
Puppy punch. He's ready. Ready?
So this whole like bar fight ensues, and ultimately, like, wild house. But then you see this giant arm comes in and picks up this dude. Boom.
Dong. Yes.
Who the heck are these?
And I love it because Orangabang is just so well spoken. Just please leave.
And what's super cool is they have a reasoning of why they stopped the fight too, because they want like a fair match the next day. They actually said, we want our opponents to be in good shape. And they also share the reason of why they're there is they're basically fighting for her. They gave a little Polaroid, and there's a family member that they're also trying to bring back.
Right. Yeah. Everyone's fighting to save their loved ones. This is crazy. It looks like they're all in like this creepy castle, like cell. But it's at will so far.
And one of the biggest discussion that happens here is something we talked about earlier, was that this whole gig of how we know professional wrestling a certain way, but in this world, all these people that they're meeting up and coming to this match, they know wrestling very differently. To them, it's real. It's like a real fight. And so she's truly worried. She's kind of like, man, like, for us, it's like a performance, but to all these people, it's a real match, right? It's a physical match. So she's kind of like, all right, like, no holding back. We have to go into this because we're already here.
That's pretty well. All right, I love it. The true fans of the boots and tights are here in the flesh, ready to consume the absolute best pro wrestling has to offer.
Well, what's cool is you mentioned the Vince McMahon documentary you saw, and in essence, he is serving that role, right? Isn't he the announcer for a lot of the events back in WWF?
And really depending on what reaction he gets, his entire role just morphs throughout his entire career. He was like a nice announcer, and then he was like, "Oh wait, I'm getting booed. Like, let me step into that."
Now, what's super cool is Nick, the necromancer announces, then it cuts to this as like
I lost it when I saw this. I was like, "Oh,
like,
cool!"
What?
I was like, "Oh, cool! Is this just something extra?" But it's just such an awesome way of laying out the wrestlers here. Pizza party. Personal favorite of mine.
What's super cool here, not only is it like visually stunning, but look at all the graphic design that DWJ had to do. He literally created 8 different logos to work in the context of this whole world. He was not lazy with this, right? Brown characters, and some of these characters may only show up for a bit, but he still made sure to create unique visuals as well as really funky, memorable names as well.
I mean, this is just one of those things this is the whole universe. You could write books about each of these duos afterwards. Like, they're so unique and just so fun.
Yeah,
It definitely reminds me of like in Dodgeball. I'm like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm curious about their backstories. I mean,
right?
especially this whole like Knights of the Rhine. Like, I love those guys. Like, they're
So
basically
cool.
medieval wrestlers. So it's
Right?
hilarious. I want
Got a
this
little bit of
poster.
everything. Yeah, right. So awesome.
All right, so
All
basically,
right.
Bang shows up. Obviously, the entry, we're all familiar with all that, but they kick it off, and I really love this as well, where they're entering the ring, and
So
then I actually had the original art for this at one point, and then they go right into it. I mean, they don't, DWJ does not resist the action, but what's really cool is this moment where CobraSun goes and tries to make a kick, and then he instantly dodges him, and then he freaking punches him in the face so hard his fist looks like a giant hammer. It's freaking
yeah.
amazing.
Oh my gosh. It's just exiting the panel. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
and what's super cool through this fight too, the whole time Lana's like, tag me in, and he just won't. And so
Yes.
you're just watching him get bombarded, like just getting smashed.
Just getting absolutely destroyed rather than tapping her in.
Yep. And then basically, in pro wrestling, obviously people just kind of, go crazy sometimes and just run into ring. But then for this match, they specify that you could do it once. You could like jump in without tag once. And so Lana uses that to save CobraSun and basically save him from barely losing the match. And so at this point, I think CobraSun realized how high stakes this whole thing is now. So he finally taps her in, and which was cool, which was really fun. Like this whole tag moment, and their eyes kind of open up, like, oh, because now the smaller guy is in there, and she just jumps out and knees him in the face.
The hot tag. Love it.
And
I
from knee,
wonder too, it seems like Uncle Blood's like able to know what's going on here. This little pink panel.
oh yeah, what's happening there? I totally missed that when I was reading that.
Yeah. It's like I don't know how, but of course, I think he is coaching them.
Like, no. It's a flashback. So basically, what happened was, like, this is the first time her dad saw her doing what she's doing. So she basically jumped out of the ring, kneed the little one, then knees the big one. And then at this moment, he's looking, and the wah is the audience going, whoa. And then he's remembering what Uncle told him. He's like, Jacob, your daughter, she has the fire. True, raw, unbridled talent. So it's a flashback for the father at this moment. And so basically, he's like, what the heck? Like, Uncle Blood was right. And what was so cool about this is she had kind of almost planned this whole thing where he knocked the big guy out. And then she gets ready, jumps in, and freaking smashes the little one. So awesome.
Oh. And you know it.
Look at all these faces in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
All these little faces that he drew with their mouths open. They're like, whoa.
So awesome.
Dang, the sound effects are powerful, right? Isn't it crazy?
That's so awesome. And now I just love this. The little 2 hours later.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Here's my guys.
He wanted to keep it moving, right? So he literally go from the match being over, then boom, the tournament in parallel. Here's what happens.
So great. The pizza, I just love it.
What is this? Like the guy is it's like a parasail or something?
He says he went for the New York slice.
It's a giant pizza.
I love it. And then the Knights on the next page. We're going through these brackets now. Getting down. You guys just have to see all the details of this.
this is like literally what DWJ is known for, and what he's loved for is all the action. And I think this book captures so much of it. It's like endless because when you read Transformers, spoiler alert, there's moments of this stuff, but he didn't. It's not all out like this. Like this, he basically went all out, where they're like in the midst of a match, they do this thing called King Arthur's Table, which is super fun because they're like the spirit of King Arthur like behind what they're doing, and then they basically crush him and they pin him and they win, and then basically it's set up now that they're basically the next opponents for our heroes. Man,
This one's all action. I mean, I feel like you got like a major story in episode 2, and now you're just like, okay, let me enjoy these brackets coming down to the main event. And
it's
we're only
really cool
on
because
we're only on
what's
4
cool-
out of 7. So
yeah, what's cool about this is Dan Warren Johnson, obviously he's written other things before, but for this one, he really let his art fill the pages and I think he does intentionally do that. Not to spoil anything ahead, he does do that with a few other issues where they're like almost all action, and it's really fun because it kind of plays with your adrenaline levels, right? It's kind of like you're reading, then this one's crazy, then you go and it's more heartwarming. So the ability to play with your emotions is pretty powerful.
so powerful. This one especially, it's like just so unexpected. All right, guys. Well, we will leave you right here. We will be back very soon with going over issue 4 of Let's Do a Powerbomb. But once again, please do follow us, like, subscribe. Definitely sign up for our newsletter that has all the latest and greatest drops, giveaways, meetups, signings. It's going to be a very busy rest of the year. So thank you so much for joining us, guys. We really appreciate you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.